Hi, Misha here, and this is one from Eaglemoss that originally I wasn't going to buy, but then I thought, I've got all the other Enterprises from the NX-01 through the originals and the JJs. I even have the Enterprise J from Enterprise. And since we're kind of coming to the end of the standard Eaglemoss, I figured why not get the USS Enterprise NCC-1701 Foxtrot, the Enterprise F. This was is a special release. This isn't in the normal line. And there's two versions. This is the one in the Star Trek Online paint scheme. And there's another one, presumably in a more standard paint scheme. To me, it really makes no difference. This is the one that just happened to be in stock. Why not? And just for a little bit of comparison, I brought out the Enterprise E Sovereign class. And as I said, I've got the Enterprise J Universe class. Well, Enterprise F. Really, this is mostly seen in Star Trek Online, which I know nothing about because video game and blind does not really go hand in hand. So, don't know anything really about that. But there it is. This is an Odyssey class. It is about 1,062 meters long, so it's a big ship. To put that in perspective, the Enterprise D from the Next Generation series is about 642 meters long, although of course it's very wide, and the Sovereign is about 690 meters long. We have 30 decks, which is more than the E, which has 24 to 26 decks. There's a bit of a discrepancy there. But less than the Enterprise D, which had 42 decks. Which makes sense, even though this is a long ship, it's relatively thin because there's not really a gooseneck as such. And of course, a lot of that length is with our nacelles that hang out the back in kind of the extended star drive section. This has a large crew, about 2,500 souls, comparing with about 800 on board a Sovereign class, or a little over 1,000 on board a Galaxy. Let's take this off, it'll be easier. This is classified as a dreadnought cruiser. When in use for combat, it was meant to be kind of the command ship in a battle group, or for more peacetime scientific, it was considered a deep space explorer, which is pretty much what all the previous Enterprises have been. It's capable of 9.99 warp. It's also equipped with transwarp drive capable of quantum slipstream using the technology brought back by Voyager from the Delta Quadrant, including all those tech specs they took from the Dauntless. We can see Voyager trying a early slipstream drive in the 100th episode, Timeless. This was one of the most advanced ships of its day. The design was kind of first started in 2404, 2405, with the original USS Odyssey having its shakedown cruise in 2409. And late that year, the Enterprise F was commissioned after the Enterprise E was decommissioned due to extreme battle damage. And soon thereafter, they would be joined by about 24 other Odyssey-class vessels. So considering the size and complexity, they put these into relatively mass production. It has shields, of course, phasers, quantum photon torpedoes, the usual layout. It also has quite a large auxiliary craft called the Aquarius, which is defined as an escort. So it's kind of an advanced captain's yacht, much more than a shuttlecraft. We have the standard shuttle bay here in the back of the saucer, but instead of another shuttle bay at the end of the star drive, that's where the Aquarius is. Do my best, guys, on the videography. That's kind of neat. And the rest is just lore from Star Trek Online. So what do I think of this ship? Well, normally fan ships or kind of non-canon ships are weird. But this one is surprisingly conservative, and honestly, I really like it. It has the general lines of a Sovereign, but it does away with the Sovereign's deflector and goes more to a kind of a retro, almost a Galaxy style deflector, which I really like the look of, combined with the elongated saucer. Also, I like how the star drive is a little beefier than on the Sovereign. So yeah, it's surprisingly something I really enjoy. Like most of the Eaglemoss Starfleet ships, the saucer is metal, and the star drive nacelles are polymer, plastic, resin, whatever you'd like to call it. And of course, really, very few people have done Enterprise Fs. Just that very few have done the Enterprise J, making this one also a unique one from Eaglemoss. Talking about the Universe class can be for another video, but I will point out that while the F is considerably larger than prior ships, it actually fits into the chronology of the canon very well, because the Universe J is even bigger. This critter is about 3,600, let's try it that way, meters long. And as you can see, it's also extremely wide, also very thin, and it has a crew of thousands. So it definitely shows a growth. This is considered an extreme deep space explorer to the point of intergalactic or transgalactic. And it also had quantum slipstream drive. So when you put this up against the D and the E, having the F in the middle really fits in. It shows that that growth, getting bigger and bigger. Of course, there would be an Enterprise G and H and I and presumably J. So we have 3 Enterprises in between them. This was introduced early 25th century, and this was in service in the 26th century. So the time frame is really about right. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. And since this is a pretty special little model, I thought some of you might like to hear me ramble about it. Why not? It's a good size. It's pretty typical of the Eaglemoss. About 5.5 inches long. Very thin. And with most of the weight in the saucer. The stand's okay. It's a little loose fitting, but not to the point that I worry about it slipping off. Might be hard for me to get this on one-handed. There we go. So see, it sits quite well. Actually, it works well. It's stable enough, but it also is not so tight that we're going to worry about moving it in and out. So yeah, a nice stand there. Honestly, the arm looks the same as the USS Bonaventure, which I talked about in a previous video, and which came out around the same time as the Enterprise F. So that's kind of funny. I really like the Bonaventure too. That's a neat design. And it's kind of soft cannon to non-cannon, just like the F. And I don't mind Eaglemoss doing ships like these. Then again, I really like the Federation design aesthetic. I really like Federation, Romulan, and Klingon a lot. That's just me though. Alrighty folks, that's about it. Like I said, this is really mostly a Star Trek Online ship, so it's not really anywhere else. You know, maybe a book or two and a graphic novel, but yeah, mostly it online. Anywho, appreciate you tuning in and bearing with me, as always. Any questions or comments, post them below. And if you could, like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha, and I will catch you very soon next time.